It's the Traumedy Podcast. Trauma plus comedy equals Traumedy. This week on Traumedy.
Yeah, I grew up in a split home. My dad's side was super religious. My mom's side liked to have fun. My dad's side was Pentecostal holiness, and they would actually teach you that dancing could lead to pregnancy, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Dancing could lead to pregnancy. So I had this joke where I was at my mom's house one weekend, though, and she's having a poker party. All the family's over. They're drinking some drinks. They're blaring Bob Seger. They're dancing in the kitchen. And I'm 9 years old on the couch like, oh, shoot. Uncle Dennis is about to get my mom pregnant.
You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. I am a former nurse, comedian, and keynote speaker about the power of humor, why we need it, how it helps us.
Bring the power of humor to your next event with award-winning comedian Nancy Norton. Nancy got out of healthcare for the same reason a lot of people get into it, to save lives. Message Nancy at nancynorton.tv. The Traumedy Podcast is sponsored by Crybaby Badass. You have to feel it to heal it. You are a Crybaby Badass luminary. See your light in the mirror. Do you have a trauma? Hey, you listening, do you have a Traumedy story to share? If so, send Nancy a message at nancynorton.tv.
This is a very good episode. Every episode is so good. I love my job. I love my calling. This is a calling, as you know. I cannot not do Traumedy because I need these conversations. I hope by listening in, you get a little something from them as well. I really am learning from every guest some coping skills or some inspiration and always something funny every single time. And this is a mental health podcast. So keep breathing. Know you're not alone. If you want to find a comedy show or to connect with me, go to my website, nancynorton.tv. Everything is there. Enjoy this episode, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is a stand-up comic, a club owner, a club runner, and now a new comedy management company. Jesse Carter, everybody. All right. Yeah. Hi, Jesse. Thanks for
having me, Nance.
Thanks for coming in. It's so cool that you have a club in one of the coolest hotels in Boulder, if not the coolest. It's the coolest. It's the oldest.
Yeah, it's the oldest for sure. Yeah.
The Boulderado.
Yep.
Downtown Boulder.
Yeah.
And you're inside license number 1, which is the bar underneath.
Yeah.
And you've been running that cool club, the Comic Sense.
Yeah, we just had our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, 2 months ago, 5 years. We've sold almost 25,000 tickets.
Amazing.
Tiny little room. It only holds 60 people, but we've had almost 25,000 people in there in the last 5 years.
It's kind of dreamy, you know. At first it took me a little bit to get used to the intimacy, just because I have this. One of the things I do with comedy is I feel like I cheat by just throwing in as much energy at the back wall as possible. But then when it feels almost inappropriate in a room that intimate, and so it's almost like a different skill set for me. But okay. I have loved it though. I have loved it. I don't know. There's just a nice flow, and then it's got those rock walls. There's a whole good feel down there. I've been having so many fun shows there. You have so many great people that come through town. You get all these pros from all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, who knew radon could help comedy so much?
Yeah, I always like to tell people, breathe the radon.
Yeah, but no, it's cool. Yeah, the little speakeasy at the basement. It's one of the back little rooms. Again, it holds about 60 people, but yeah, I like that old school. I have a lot of comics from New York come out, and they always say this is kind of like a mini comedy cellar, which to me is like the biggest compliment you can get because that's like one of the best clubs ever. So. Oh,
I know. I wish I could play the Comedy Cellar. It's not that easy. You have to really be in New York. I tried because I did a thing with Colin Quinn, and I was like, can you get me to the? He's like, it doesn't work like that. You got to just go through the hoops to get in that. That is a cool club.
Yeah, pretty much live out there. I think is the only.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Yeah. And I love Boulder, so I probably never get to play the cellar. But hey, you're a comedian also. How long have you been doing stand-up?
The first time I never know how to answer. The first time I ever did comedy was 2007.
Okay.
My first set ever, I did a 2-minute set at Comedy Works, their new talent night. Because everybody's like, oh, when you do comedy, you should go to a bunch of bar shows, practice. Don't do Comedy Works first. And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm just going to go for a 2-minute set, easiest crowd I can find, which was Comedy Works.
Yeah.
Brian Hawker was emceeing. Do you remember Brian?
Yeah.
Brian Hawker was emceeing. I remember his intro was, be nice to this next comic. It's not only his first time here, it's his first time on any stage ever. Being mean to him would be like giving a virgin the shocker. So be nice to him. And that was my intro, and I did 2 minutes. I can't remember a lot of the jokes, but I didn't bomb. I didn't crush, but I didn't bomb. And it was a thing where it wasn't like I was doing it because I wanted to be a comedian. I just was doing it because I thought it'd be fun. And then I didn't do comedy again for like another year and a half. Got the itch kind of again, started doing open mics. So like 2009-ish to 2012, I was pretty involved. I was running a bunch of shows in Denver. I ran like a weekly show at the Hard Rock downtown, which was horrible. That was every Wednesday night for 2 years somehow, and it was awful. You'd literally go up, and there'd be like families eating dinner.
Oh, no. I hate
like,
that when you go up on a show where they don't even know that you're going to be there.
Yeah.
And you're interrupting their meal. You're
Yes.
You really are.
Yeah. It's like a pop-up comedy show.
You definitely paid your dues.
Yes.
You
On the production side, I've paid. I ran a weekly show there used to be an Old Chicago in downtown Denver. It was a really cool setup. They had the Old Chicago in one room, and then this back bar that had like a stage and everything.
Yeah.
So we did shows there for a couple years. That one was good, actually. That was because it was his own room. And
Yeah, if it has its own focus and stuff like that. It always helps, too, if people have at least spent even $1 on a ticket somehow, or even gone to the trouble of getting one. Even if it's a free ticket, you had to, even if you had to do 3 clicks to get it, there's an investment.
Absolutely.
I have always found. But,
Absolutely.
I've never figured out how, my brain, I'm not disciplined enough to produce. And that's why I'm so excited. Not only that, people like you are doing this and running this great room that's right here in my hometown. It's so nice, too. You have Wednesday and Thursdays, you have like new material nights sometimes. So it's a great place. All the John Novosad's always coming in there. I love to drop in there. A lot of the pros drop in and practice material. It's such a great hang. And then you've got the main shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep. Yeah, usually I've been trying to kind of transition where pretty much I'm trying to launch Wednesdays. We'll see, but Thursdays I'm trying to just do, we're calling it New Sense.
New Sense.
Comic Sense is the name of the club. New Sense. It's established comedians trying new jokes. So trying to do that every Thursday, and then we'll do the, feature the headliners Friday and Saturdays.
Very cool. And now you're doing management, comedy management, which I got super excited about because I need help. I really need help talking with some of my clients. I do a lot of corporate, a lot of keynotes, and there are a handful of clubs that I really would love to get into. Maybe you'll help. Who knows? You're going to help other people. You're going to have a roster of people like Mike Stanley and some other folks. Yeah,
we got, kind of was a thing I've thought about a bunch. And then, Mike Stanley had put online that he was looking for maybe somebody to help him manage. So I was like, hey, I've thought about this, but I was kind of like I was telling you, I was kind of waiting for the universe to like show the need instead of trying to force myself into it.
Yes,
and so
I love it.
when Mike posted that, I was like, hey, I've thought about it, but I've never managed, but I'm a comic and I run a club, so I know kind of the ins and outs. And so we met. He was down. I was like, yeah, I think I should build a roster, kind of give it some legitimacy. And so within 24 hours, Mike Stanley was in, Caleb Synan was in, met with Al Jackson. He's down, and then Nancy's down. So
we're
couldn't
doing
be happier.
This.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I think the hardest part of comedy is that whole business side. We all love being on the stage and telling our jokes and, sharing laughs with people, but it's like, the grind of, doing all this stuff, calling the clubs and figuring out how to get in the door sometimes and stuff like that. So thank you for, I appreciate, like we were talking in the kitchen earlier about some folks are, I'm very emotional, and everything I have, every cup I pick or every glass, everything I touch has a little emotional value to it. And then some people are super logical, and you're kind of like right on the crosshairs of those two worlds, of the analytical and the intuitive emotional, which that makes a great comic. Yeah, because that's good, because you got to have structure, but you also have to kind of be in the moment. So it's been fun to watch you grow too as a comedian. It's been fun to see you shine and have a good time.
Yeah.
And then also to meet your mom. Let's talk about your background. How did you get funny? Like, when did you, like, maybe tell a little, like, where were you raised? Was there any stress growing up that you maybe used humor to help you cope with? Or was it just a fun thing just to be funny? Do you have a sense?
Yeah, I would say, so my parents got divorced when I was young, which isn't, I feel like at this point everybody's parents got divorced when they were young.
Yeah, it's almost more rare, huh? It's almost more rare to find somebody whose parents.
Yeah.
In my generation, it was not very common.
Yeah.
They just stuck it out, but in the younger,
Yeah.
your mom's my age.
Correct,
So
yeah.
I've been divorced twice. So yeah. And so there you go. But
Yeah.
anyway, so but it is still traumatic.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a big deal. It's still a big deal.
Even when I was young, I kind of had a sense that it was like, I'd much rather them be happy on their own than force anything. I was never like I almost hesitate even saying like, oh, my parents got divorced when I was young, because it sounds like a pity type thing where I'm like, thank God they did though.
Yeah.
I'd much rather two people be happy individually than just try to stick it out and be miserable.
Well, of course. And but it is like, it's so funny because I had another trailer I didn't put up that Andrea was on last week, and that when she went through a divorce and she talked to her mom, and her mom said divorce ruins the kids. And I mean, that it really she ended up like, okay, we got to try harder to make this work. But you're a role model too. It's like it's almost like you can't win,
Right.
But you have to honor yourself. So you see that, but still it's hard, huh? Like, when it's still a big deal to go through it, even though it's for the highest good.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I think it was
How old were you?
7 years old.
Yeah, that's a rough age.
Yeah.
And then did you live with your mom, or did you split time?
And so then my dad, he remarried shortly after, maybe like a year or two after. He remarried. And then, so I'd spend weekdays at my mom's, weekends at my dad's. And I was always, I don't know, I was just kind of naturally a mama's boy my whole life. My dad and I have a good relationship, but...
you and your mom have a great relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe
My
that's
mom
it.
and
Your
I are-
dad, you and your dad have a good one. You and your mom have a great
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Your mom's wonderful, and she comes to the shows.
Yeah.
She's. And I mean, we've spent the last 2 New Year's Eves together
We
because
have.
we were doing comedy
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
And your mom's there, and
Yep,
it's been
yep.
so fun.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
But I interrupted you. But you were saying, but you just had more affinity, like whatever. You guys just vibe more for whatever reason.
Yeah. I think... So I grew up here in Colorado. They lived a few miles apart, but I would switch schools a lot.
Oh, that's rough.
So I was switching schools, and it wasn't necessarily that they were like, oh, now you got to be closer to, your dad, or you need to be closer to your mom. It almost kind of became a thing where I enjoyed it, which I don't know why, but there was times where I'd be like, yeah, let's swap back over there. So for some reason, I think at a young age, I enjoyed being kind of the new kid on the block.
Oh, really?
And
Got
I
some
feel like
new.
that's where I kind of got the.
You got that new kid smell.
Yeah.
Like a new car smell or
Yeah,
something. Like,
yeah.
Really?
I think I went to 11 different schools.
Wow.
Between first grade and the end of my senior year.
So somehow you made the best of it.
I jumped around a lot.
You're like, well, I'm embracing the fact that I'm the new kid, and people kind of like that way you were introduced for new talent. That like brand new, give him love,
Yeah.
like maybe a little extra new kid love or something, or new kid attention, or maybe.
Yeah.
But then, were you a clown? Were you a class clown?
Yeah, I think that's where I first kind of started using humor to, I don't know if it's to my advantage, but to stick out. Because when you were the new guy all the time, humor was what I could use. Because I wasn't super athletic. I definitely wasn't like a book nerd. My identity was basically humor. My mom's side of the family is very funny, and you got to be loud. It's definitely that stereotypical family where, like, if you want to get a punchline in, you got to be loud, and timing's got to be on.
Yeah. Got to be fast.
Yeah, you got to be quick. And
that's cool.
So I kind of always had that on my mom's side, and then humor is what I eventually kind of figured out was like, oh, this could be like my thing, where this is how I get attention or friends.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much the class clown my whole growing up.
Yeah.
And then my last few years, halfway through my sophomore year, I switched to a private Christian school. And
I want to do a cartoon sound like ding diddling, like what? Like, okay, wait. I've met your mom. I'm not saying, but I mean, we like to party.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, how did this happen? How did you go to a Christian school?
So my mom's mom, my grandma, we called her Nani. Nani was always super religious.
Oh,
so
there you go.
my grandma on my mom's side was super religious. And then my dad, shortly after my mom and dad got divorced, my dad got super religious.
Oh.
And so it was kind of like
He found Jesus.
Yeah, my dad found Jesus.
Right after the divorce? Or
Right,
what?
yeah.
Was it the new wife? Was she?
No, I don't. It wasn't necessarily like he.
It wasn't her thing.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I
Yeah.
wonder what. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, he got like you hear people say that, like all of a sudden they got the whatever.
The
Love of
born
Jesus.
again.
Born again Christian.
Born again.
Yeah, that's what it is. Born again. So okay. So a lot of folks when they get divorced, they say they have to do kind of code switching from one house to the other, like kind of figure out there's new rules now at dad's house and that are different than at mom's house. What were there some differences between the two houses for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because dad's side was super religious. That I'd spend weekends with him. We'd be going to church. But then mom's side was more like we might, Monday afternoon, I'll get out of school, she'll get off work, might end up meeting, somebody for happy hour at Applebee's. So yeah, very different parallels there. I had this joke I was doing where it was like, I grew up in a split home. My dad's side was super religious. My mom's side liked to have fun. My dad's side was Pentecostal holiness, and they would actually teach you that dancing could lead to pregnancy, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Dancing could lead to pregnancy. So I had this joke where I was at my mom's house one weekend, though, and she's having a little poker party. All the family's over. They're drinking some drinks. They're blaring Bob Seger. They're dancing in the kitchen. And I'm 9 years old on the couch like, oh, shoot. Uncle Dennis is about to get my mom pregnant.
Did you really probably thought that?
I mean, it's an exaggeration for sure, but
it was confusing for your brain, right?
Yeah.
You gotta like, wait, this house is like absolutely no dancing, no music, probably.
Yeah, there'd be like trying to think.
I was trying to remember with the Pentecostals.
There was big Christian bands back then. Delirious was a really popular Christian band. Newsboys was.
But did Pentecostals allow music?
They did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I used to be the drummer, actually, on the church band. I'd play the drums. Yeah.
Pentecostal drummer.
Yes.
All right.
That's how you know you're a good drummer, when you're playing for the Pentecostal Holiness Church Band Sunday mornings.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's perfect traumedy.
Yeah, it's funny that there would be music, but no dancing.
Yeah. Or like even, what if you move just a little? I wonder where the line is. Where does like, what if you swayed, or you know what I mean? Because I noticed that folks had their hands up doing that, and I thought, ooh, you're getting close to dance. Yeah, watch out.
Yeah, where is? I think it's if it's with somebody.
Oh, there it is.
So if like your hand, I think this was like a
if you dance by
submissive thing, like you're submitting yourself to God. So you're kind of like giving yourself up or your ego up. That's kind of the submissive thing.
Also, I feel like I'm also receiving. I do sometimes feel like I do this. Like, thank you, God. I have some moments. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there's something in my palms that I feel like I receive energy. I don't know. Do you feel like it feels like a reception too? Like, bring it on down.
Yeah.
But so it's dancing with somebody. Like maybe if you dance by yourself, that's just masturbation.
Yeah.
If you're dancing with someone else, that's sex.
Yeah, dancerbation.
Yeah. Dancerbation.
Yeah, you can dance alone. But yeah, I think it was dancing with people. And
that could lead to pregnancy.
Yeah. Like in high school for like homecoming, prom, all that, there was no dancing. We would just we'd sing karaoke. We'd stand around awkwardly, which for me was great. To this day, I hate dancing. So I was actually down with all of that. Like, I'm not allowed to dance. Like, okay, perfect.
Oh, you don't like dancing?
Nah, I'm not a big dancer. I've been trying. Like my girlfriend's way into dancing, so I've been trying to enjoy it.
Oh, interesting.
Not a big.
That's
dancer.
just not the way you express yourself. I get that. Well, and maybe there is part of you that needs to unlearn that's a sin of some sort. But then, of course, you unlearn the sex part. Like you've made peace with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I've been trying. Like we went on a vacation, and she likes if we're gonna go out, she wants to hear live music. I love live music, but yeah, I've been trying to dance.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it makes her really happy. So I'm like,
Yeah.
she'll go sit through a comedy show after comedy show after comedy show. I'm like, all right, the least I can do is at least.
Yeah.
And it's easier too if I think if you have a girlfriend that you're attracted to,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to be like, okay, I'll dance. But when you're not into dancing and then you're the single guy at a bar, or maybe trying to like impress chicks, or talk to talk to some people, then you just feel like not as comfortable with it. But it's a little bit easier when you're just like, this makes my girlfriend happy and.
And also, if it's moving, like in it, you're expressing your love for her in movement.
Right.
Like if you're really like, it is, now that I think about it, maybe the Pentecostals were right. Because if you think about it, is a little form, like foreplay, it's part of making love.
Right.
Because dancing can be, it can be kind of foreplay. It is erotic. It can be erotic, especially, you're doing a little slow dance, you're feeling energy on your, your special parts.
Yeah, I could get it. Like it made sense. Dancing lead to pregnancy is a little bit of a stretch, but but I was ecstatic. The fact that I didn't have to dance at homecoming was fantastic.
That was a plus.
Yeah. So that was kind of how it was. My dad's side was super religious. My mom's side is more of not so much religious, although my grandma is. But I ended up going. My grandma offered to pay for it.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Nani.
Yeah, so Nani paid for that. So I went to a private high school. And I think that's where I was getting older. Obviously, it was just halfway through my sophomore year. And then I think that's where I actually started. I was actually like writing jokes at the time. But I didn't really know. I can't say I didn't know what stand-up was. But I hadn't made the connection yet of like. Because when you're younger, you kind of think like, oh, people just go on stage and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
You don't realize like, oh, they've been working on. Like you watch a special back in the day. You don't realize they're like touring for years. Perfecting.
No,
polishing,
I know.
perfecting,
Even
polishing, you're just like they're really funny.
Yeah.
And then once you get older, you're like, oh, this is like a
craft,
a system, a craft. And so I was writing jokes in high school, but I didn't do anything with them. I just would write down stuff that I thought was funny, and so I started writing jokes probably in middle school, maybe high school.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I was just writing just for fun. Didn't really know.
Just enjoying it, enjoying the process of like, oh, what if this and that? That's pretty cool, Jesse. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was just for myself.
Yeah,
I'd write something and be like, that's really funny, and I got a kind of a high off of it. Like that made me laugh.
That's beautiful.
I loved it was a hobby, kind of putting a puzzle together, which it always is. But
it is.
Yeah.
You're right. That's really cool that you were doing it for yourself. That's the very, very best.
Yeah, and it wasn't because I was like, I want to be a comedian. Again, I hadn't really put the pieces together.
You were just enjoying it and getting the little dopamine hit and and having a good time. Like, it's like somebody who plants a garden for themselves, or somebody that, like you said, doing a puzzle for the satisfaction. That says a lot. That says a lot that you weren't trying to, make some gains. It's just like that's your true like soul. Your muse is really playing with your muses at a very young age.
Yeah. Just luckily, I was kind of just. It's not like
it's a natural.
Not like I don't know if I'm natural at it, but I naturally enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a natural.
I like
naturally good at it.
You're very humble. Yeah. I know, because you were saying, you're in the middle of this competition at Comedy Works, which is a huge competition, like 150 people, the new faces, and then you're in the semifinals, which is a big deal to get to the semifinals. And then you have another night, and you said I had a great set, and I don't often say that, and because I get like it feels a little uncomfortable to say I had a great set, because a lot of people will say I killed it, and then sometimes you see them and you're like, not so much. But you can feel it. I mean, you've been doing this long enough, like when you have a good set. But I guess I just want to say, it doesn't hurt to be humble,
Sure, yeah. And I think it helps specifically in this industry being humble, because I think the overly confident people, like it's good to be confident on stage, but you can easily get that delusion of like, oh, I'm really good at this, but the club doesn't understand me, or the crowd sucks, or this, or the guy didn't give me the right intro, or the comic before me did this, so that's why I did that.
What are you reading my mind?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
No, you're right. But the fact that you're doing it for you, and I mean, you cannot go wrong. So if you're pleasing yourself, like I'm doing jokes that I like, and I'm going to keep doing the jokes I like, and then that's where you can really build your audience. And I got to be honest, I'm codependent AF, so I'm always like, I'm trying to be the entertainer and trying to hit the statistics as high as possible because I need that to feel whatever. But then I see folks like if you keep going on your trajectory of just like, of course there's still the skills are building, but then honoring your own voice, even though there might be a tone, you and I have talked about this, we have different styles, right? We have different styles and it's cool. Like I am more like whatever, this neurotic inside out. And I feel like you're a little more observational maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I think it goes back to the writing aspect, which is something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Because writing is actually where, like, I'd say I'm more passionate about writing a good joke than I am about delivering a good joke.
Oh.
So if I, like, write something that I think that's funny, I get just as much, if not more of a hit than when it works on stage. Oh. The worst is when I think it's really, and this happens to comics every day, it's nothing new, but when you write something really funny and it goes on stage and it just bombs.
Oh. I think what I'm getting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's the difference between like this might be where you're on the crosshairs of left, right brain, but also maybe introvert, extrovert.
Absolutely.
But I am an extrovert where I'm like, I need the energy. And if I don't get it, I almost feel like I'm going to die.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you're an introvert, you get charged from within.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, I'm kind of jealous because I think that you'll always be okay because you're gonna you give yourself your own fuel,
Yeah, I mean, but still, I mean, there's plenty of times I get off stage and I'm like, I posted that just a few weeks ago. I was like, you ever bomb so hard you want to cry? That happened to me just a few weeks ago. So it's not. There's no way you're introverted, extroverted. What a bomb's a bomb.
Oh man,
and it hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah,
and I think it goes back to our midbrain, like survival part of our brain where it feels like in that room I often joke because they're so close I feel like I'm at a witch burning in a past life. And if they don't like you in an intimate setting or don't like you, it's not that it feels like they don't like you.
Right.
They didn't get you or whatever. We don't even know the variables sometimes.
Sure.
But it is so hard not to take it personal and like I'm gonna die. Like it does feel like you're gonna die. Like they're gonna kill me. I think on a midbrain level there's that crowd. If there's a crowd looking at me and they're not with me, then they're against me.
Right,
and it's such a horrible feeling. And you cannot wait to get out of that room. I don't want to look at those people. And I've had shows like that where people will not look at you afterwards because they're like, oh, that's so bad.
Or they come up, they're like, I thought you were good.
God, I know.
I know you think that's helping, but you're just pointing out that the rest of the room hated me. That's what that means.
It is. It's just such an exercise in vulnerability and rejection, desensitivity or something. But back to your origins. And there's Mushu. He's our mascot. Yeah, sometimes he gets in our lap and he usually settles down. But he kind of comes in here and moves energy around. Maybe
Move shoe.
Move shoe. Yeah.
Moves you.
Whatever moves you. Well, anyway, back to your origin, like making yourself, like when you went to Catholic school, or not Catholic, it was Christian school.
Yeah.
A private Christian school. Was there something you were going to say that shifted there? That's when you were writing jokes for yourself. But also, I think when you're up against religion, sometimes, comedy is fueled by contrast. So were you like saying irreverent things under your breath, or was it, I don't know, where was there any like fuel that you were getting in high school?
Yeah, I think that was kind of a crosshair where I think if I hadn't gone to a private school and I'd stayed in public school, I think I may have actually ended up getting into comedy earlier. Oh. Because I went to the private high school and was using humor to, make friends and have a good time. But then I ended up I actually ended up kind of veering hard into the religion side. So I ended up like working for a church for a while. I was a youth pastor for a little bit.
Oh,
and so
yes, I forgot.
Comedy was just kind of this thing I did. The jokes I was writing was clean. I remember the first time I went and saw a stand-up comedy show. It was this little bar in Littleton. It was this guy named Bob Smiley, who was like the super popular working comic of churches at the time.
Oh,
Bob Smiley was like on these big national tours.
Oh.
In fact, I remember, can I go off on a little tangent?
Oh, whatever you want. Yes.
John Christ, who's like huge now. John Christ came up here in Colorado, and John and I were friends for a while when he first started. It was right around 2007, 2008. And John and I were close because he's a preacher's kid, and I was coming from a religious background as well. And John and I would always joke like, "Oh, you're gonna be the next Bob Smiley," because that was the the big Christian comic at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember I went and saw Bob Smiley at this little like coffee place, and he was telling these jokes. That was the first time I'd seen live stand up, and I was like, "Oh, like." This is what people are doing with it. That was the first time the connections went off. And I was like, okay, this guy writes jokes, and then he gets on stage and tells them. But instead, I think of going the direction of comedy. I got super into the church, and then ended up, I would say, from 15 or 16 to 20. There was about a 5-year there where I went deep into the religion aspect, which isn't a bad thing, but that's what I ended up doing, and then got burnt out on that.
And did you just you got burnt out on it?
Yeah.
But wait, did I hear you say that you were not a pastor? You were a pastor?
Yeah, I was a youth pastor.
You were.
So I like ran youth groups. At one point, I lived up in Alaska, and I was working for a church up there. That was a pretty cool gig because actually I ran like a youth group. So like Wednesday nights, we'd have like our little youth church. And I'd give like a little sermon. And so I think I was, if I had the need to, I don't want to say get attention, but the desire to like speak publicly, I ended up going to the church route. So I was like doing little sermons and doing all that and trying to make it, I remember trying to kind of make it funny, entertaining, loose. But then it was cool because then a lot of times I'd like take the youth group on these backpacking trips throughout Alaska.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny because I've backpacked all over Alaska. I've never been on a backpack trip in Colorado, which is kind of funny.
But you have a place in the mountains. You're very outdoorsy.
Yeah,
you camp a lot. You do backpack, don't you?
Yeah.
But not a backpacking trip. But you are out there a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool. Where were you in Alaska?
Right in Anchorage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was just up there last week, up in Homer, Alaska.
Oh, okay.
I just flew into Anchorage and drove down to Homer on the Kenai Peninsula. Did a little
nice.
comedy show there.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking while you were talking about John Christ and Jesse Carter and JC, like your
JCs.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of notable.
Yeah.
And do you feel like I'm not going to out another comedian, but let's just say another very popular Boulder comedian. And I'm not saying I'm a popular. Well, yeah. I mean, this is one of the few towns where I can sell a few tickets.
Yeah, you're definitely you're definitely a popular Boulder comedian.
I mean, I felt really self-conscious when I said that. I love that earlier I was told you I couldn't find my rose-colored glasses because it helps me feel less self-conscious. And what did you say? You should try to feel more self-conscious.
Trying to minimize self-consciousness.
Yeah,
it's like, no, maximize it.
Maximize it. And I like your little maximize it. But so another friend of ours is very much into the Christ consciousness. Goes to the Unity Church here that's right on the corner almost every Sunday.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And the Christ consciousness is like just so beautiful to me. But then the religion, I get so hurt by it as somebody in the queer community. Like my son's orphanage director came to stay with us and wanted to go to a mega church. And I was like, I don't want to go to a mega church. But I wanted to honor him. I mean, my God, he gave me a son.
Right,
so I took him to Flatirons mega church.
Okay, yeah.
And right after the fun rock song, and that is a huge church. It's got like those cherry picker cameras zooming all around. I mean, it's a big church, and he was so into it. And I liked the music and everything. And then within I think 3 minutes of the preacher talking, said some transphobic thing. And I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I left. And then this one girl came marching up the aisle past me, and I followed her out, and she had on like multicolored rainbow pigtails. Anyway, all I'm saying is I'm a fan of JC. And I like to say Yeshua just because for some reason I grew up in the buckle of the Bible Belt, and when I hear Jesus, I don't know, it almost scares me because somebody's coming at me, to tell me I'm going to hell.
Right.
And I'm like, so I like to say Yeshua. But how are you doing now with your relationship with Jesus, Yeshua? Is that too personal?
No, I would say I'm kind of on the same, that's kind of where when I was talking about getting burnt out, I just got kind of burnt out on the church people, which if you go to church and you get something out of it and it helps you, great. I have no problem with people that go to church, but for me personally, I think too, working in the church, you start seeing certain things where you're like, I don't know about this. Like, not to get too deep, but there was a point where like kind of my mentor growing up in the church. So I had a girlfriend at the time. Her and I had gone to this school together, and we were both kind of working for this church. And then there was our mentor, and her and I were having premarital sex, which was a big no-no. And I remember I told them, I like confessed it. I felt really bad. And then we broke up. And then, long story short, my mentor ended up actually, shortly after we broke up, went after my girlfriend. And then I lost that friendship. And I kind of got, I'm not trying to victimize myself, but I kind of got like pushed away. Like, you're a sinner. You're the bad guy. Like, you had premarital sex. And I was like, well, why am I the bad guy? But like, now she's your girlfriend. Like,
yeah,
like we had consensual sex.
Yeah.
You know, and so that.
And he was much older? How old was she?
He was, I don't know, he's probably 6 years older than me. And then she was my age.
And you were young.
Yeah, this was probably when I was like 17 or 18.
Oh, wow.
And, so then.
And then he went after. He heard that, she's fun.
Yeah, she's a good time.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's such a trust betrayal from somebody that's your mentor.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, it violated a trust with the whole system.
It did, yeah, because the mentor, he was also the preacher's kid at the church I grew up in. So he was kind of like an older brother mentor.
Wow,
kind of like
hurts.
the guy that I was like, fascinated by, that I wanted to be like. He was very athletic, very good looking, very cool. And so growing up an only child and going to the church all the time, I was like, this dude's got it going on. I want to be like this dude.
Yeah, like your big
and
brother.
So, and then when that happened, and to this day, I don't have any hard feelings. They're still married. They have kids. They're happy.
They got married.
So maybe it was all meant to be. I just happened to be kind of the wild card that got left out, which is, it's fine now. But when I was like 18, 19, trying to figure life out, trying to figure out church, trying to figure out this.
That's really hurtful.
Just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, where I was like, I don't know about these church people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about. I'm going to take a step back and reevaluate.
Yeah.
And also just like take care of your heart, because it's so hard to be around that. Like when you're, missing your girlfriend and that guy's with her, it's just in your face.
Yeah,
like,
and that was kind of I remember that being a low point. I was like, what do I do from here? Because that was right after I'd been working for the church in Alaska. I came back, kind of same thing. I told the church in Alaska, like, hey, I got this girlfriend. We've been having premarital sex. And they kind of like fired me on the spot. And so then there was just kind of this thing where it was like, I guess to work for a church, you have to be perfect.
Or lie.
Yeah,
which is what I think most people do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say, but I think a lot of them are just lying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
I do believe that.
No, I think that's
like you're not allowed to be, because you're not allowed to be human.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of religion.
Yeah.
I just feel it ruins spirituality.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just haven't had a good experience with it personally. I do love, like you say, if it works for you, as long as you're not using your clout to hurt others, because it does scare me when like the MAGA churches kind of freak me out a little bit.
Sure.
And it gets into like group think.
Yeah.
That gets a little scary. But I mean, I don't want to go on to that too much, but in a way it set you free. And then once you took that step back and you started finding a different path and doing other things, and then somehow found your way into stand-up.
Yeah. Yeah. So then from there, which you had to go back, you were saying, what's your relationship now? I would say like I still very much believe in the words that Jesus taught, but I think the church, and I'm by no means the first person to say this, but I don't think the church necessarily is following what Jesus taught. Like I think I had this idea at one point that there could be a really good, I think, like series put together. If certain Bibles, when you read them, everything that Jesus said is in red font.
Yeah, I remember
everything
that.
else is in black font.
Right.
And I thought there could be maybe a cool thing where it's like some type of series or following where it's just called like the red font, where it's like I fully believe in what Jesus taught, but everything else that's attached itself to that over the last 2,000 years, I'm not so sure about. But the words that Jesus spoke, I think, are pretty good life lessons or ways to live by.
Yeah, everything I've ever heard. And I remember having a Bible that had the red, highlighted, and which I like, because to me it was like the Cliff Notes to Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus' Cliff Notes.
I never,
I like that.
I never, could read very well because of one eye on one line, and also I think just didn't read enough to get fluent. So it was hard to get past it. Yeah, I didn't read that much of the Bible. Can I be honest? I barely passed catechism classes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great idea. Like, because everything you read that Jesus or Yeshua said feels expansive and inclusive.
Yeah.
And so much like love.
Yes.
Like the Christ consciousness feels like love to me. And I don't know about, other religions, but anyway, yeah. Well, and when the guy who used to run New Talent Night, I was with him when he died, David Grayer. He was going by Deacon at the time, but I knew him as David, so I don't know. That just felt like that's my friend David, Deacon felt like his stage name or something. I'm not sure if I'm doing disrespect by saying David but anyway, the point of it is when he was dying, and this is one of the things as a nurse I've learned, is people feel like they have a little access to spirit. He was definitely not religious, but he just said, creativity is my God. And I thought, because, Ram Dass, the great psychedelic guru, he would say, hey, are you identifying with that which has already been manifested, or are you identifying as one with the Creator and you are creating? And there's something about when we're creating, I definitely feel a higher power connection or something.
Totally.
Yeah, and who knows where these things come from? Like when you were writing those jokes, it's like, it's funny. Sometimes it feels like a download or a little gift or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many times you write a joke and you're just like, I don't even want to take credit for it. I have no idea where this came from.
Every now and
working through it and polishing it and all that is, part of the process, but there's times where you're writing, I was saying before, like I'll write a joke and be like, this is funny to me. Maybe it'll work on stage, maybe it won't. There's for every 50 jokes you write, there's one that you're like, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be.
One that just makes you laugh every time. Like you laugh really hard. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, something, flew through my brain about, I was just going to say, in your act, and is there something, or not even any, it doesn't have to be in your act, but is there anything that comes to mind, like a bit that's helped you process a trauma that you do in your thing? Like I talk about the Easy Bake Oven and the light burning my eye, which is my way of processing my strabismus,
Right.
Do you have anything like that comes to mind that you feel like you're processing a trauma inside your...
Well, it's funny you bring up Deacon Gray, because Deacon was kind of a mentor to me when I first got into comedy.
Oh, really?
'Cause he was the new talent coordinator back 2007.
Yeah,
2008,
absolutely.
He was kind of a mentor to me. He was a mentor to me that didn't end up taking my girlfriend. So that was he was a good mentor. But yeah, I had a lot of respect. It was one of those things where Deacon and I can't say we were like best friends, but he would do that thing where if you took him out to lunch, he'd give you notes or just chat with you. So I went out to lunch with him quite a bit, buy him lunch, and then he'd just give me feedback.
Probably at Steuben's. Did you go to Steuben's?
Yes. Yep,
my gosh. Getting the mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I probably had lunch at Steuben's a handful of times with Deacon.
And so he would give you notes.
He would give me notes, and then one of the things he told me, because he was like, he'd kind of like pry in, like, well, what's your background? Like, what's unique to you? And I told him about all the religion stuff, and he was like, you got to talk about it on stage.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, to this day, I haven't found the relatability of it yet.
Yeah. Do you feel too close to it and almost too much reverence around it?
Yeah, I think if I'm being honest, it's probably kind of just something where I'm like, I don't ever want to, I don't want it to seem like I like left the church and was like, F you. And I think when you kind of grow up in it, there's that fear of like, I'm not trying to be blasphemous.
Yeah.
Or if there's people in the crowd that are still super religious, I don't want to like, make them feel bad or make them feel guilty. I've done some shows. I've kind of like tried to do some jokes. I remember one show I did where I must have like tried to go into the religion thing, because I remember this guy came up to me afterwards and he's like, "Hey man, you're really funny, but just remember, Jesus loves you. No matter what, just remember Jesus loves you." And I was like, "All right, thanks, man. Like, appreciate that." So yeah, I haven't, to answer your question.
Did you had you done a joke that night? That made him think that, or
Yeah, I'm trying to think
how
of
that came up.
Yeah, this was a
or
couple
maybe
years
it's
ago,
just something he sensed he needed to say.
Yeah.
I was also just thinking like, are you afraid you're going to go to hell? So you know,
Yeah,
do you believe in hell?
Yeah, that was another thing. Even when I was really into the religion, that was another thing that I was pretty hung up on, because I was like, why would there be a hell? Like, why does there have to be?
I can't get my head around it.
Like,
Forever,
maybe it's
eternal.
One thing,
like, how could you do something so bad in this
Yeah,
lifetime that
yeah.
you get an eternity?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
yeah.
But
like,
again,
why would there be a God that would create? You know, I understand the free will and this and that, but that was a big hang up for me even when I was really into it. Was I'm not dead set on there being a hell. Maybe it's just like, if you're really good, you get to go to heaven. If you're not, then that's just the end of it.
I don't know. I
know.
feel like just having the steps away from love is like, you know, I feel like my ego is hell. Like my ego that wants to control things and live forever and not suffer and whatever it is, like not accept what is. Like that's they say is the definition of suffering, if you're not accepting what is. Like you're, you know, because you get into almost like a personal torture.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that ego is your hell.
Yeah.
Because the Bible actually says pride is the root of all evil.
Pride.
So funny that you said ego is your hell.
And so maybe, you know, now that you say that, I think that was when I took that orphanage director to Flatiron Church. It might have been Gay Pride Week. And the fact that they call it Pride, I wish they didn't call it Pride. I don't know where Pride got started with that, because I understand how that actually gives them more, whatever, a little fodder or something. I love the idea, you know, like gay, celebration and gay love, or you know, words like that. But it is true. Like pride is a kind of a weird word.
Yeah, yeah. I've never equated Yeah, I've never translated it to gay pride, because that doesn't have a negative connotation to me.
Yeah.
But
pride is the root. That's interesting. You know what I came to the other day, where I was trying to, you know, of course, I was going to solve all the world's problems, even though I can't even make time to vacuum my house. I can't dust. Like, Nance, you know, maybe just take care of your house, you know, instead of thinking you got the answer. Because I was like, it feels like comfort is the root of evil. Like if you, like I want to be more and more comfortable. And it's like, I wonder if just not accepting, it's sort of that Buddhist thing, accepting life as suffering. I don't know. I was trying to get somewhere with that where, you know, I'm running my air conditioner today, which is it's causing global warming. And I don't know where I'm headed with that, but like that's where like hoarding resources, like I should have a house, but that guy doesn't have one. I don't know, man. I'm not sure this is a good point I'm making, but my ego, I just feel like when I'm doing comedy these days, what helps me the most is not being, you know how people can just feel neediness. Doesn't matter if you're doing comedy or you're on a blind date. You know, if you're just like, let me think, what do I have to, you know, offer this audience, or, you know, what do we have in common? You know, like a we-ness rather than like a me. It's about me. You know, I stopped thinking comedy was about me and it's about a shared experience.
Absolutely,
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something getting like out of my ego a little bit. Yeah.
When I'd say you've, from like the outsider's perspective, you're the most present person on stage that I think I've ever seen.
Oh,
and
really?
I think that's what makes you really good, is you are so present. And that's always when I watch you, that's always my main takeaway, is like, just be that present. Because for me, having the writing background, my biggest fear is when I know I'm scripted.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like I'm bombing, even if the jokes are doing okay. The second I start to feel scripted, that's my hell, is then it's like, I'm just up here telling jokes. Yeah. And so for me, that's what I'm always fighting, is being present, delivering in a sense or in a way that makes it feel, you know, that it's not just something you wrote down to say on stage.
Yeah, like a talking head kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. And thanks for saying that. I do feel like it's almost like my gimmick to be present, because I was confessing I haven't been doing that much writing. I used to just write all the time.
Yeah.
And now I just think, well, I haven't had a Netflix special, so I can just use my A material, but I can just pull, out of all these different files and just see what, and you've seen enough of my repetition material of how it kind of works. But it is kind of fun, though, to see how even the same bit can land a little differently with each audience makes it just slight. There's a slight nuance to it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that shared experience.
Yeah. I would say it's not your gimmick. I think it's your gift.
Okay.
Because most comics would, I'm not trying to just blow smoke up your ass.
Pump up Nance.
But every comic would love to be that present. So I wouldn't call it your gimmick. I would say it's a gift.
Thank you. Well, you know what? I think it is a gift that I have, it's taken me this long to take away some of the mask and also just be like, even though it feels bad to bomb, we know this, but know that we're going to survive and we are safe, and we're safe enough to be that present.
Yeah.
And trust something. And Jess, I do say a prayer every show. I do. I let them leave feeling better than when they walked in. I actually throw that up. I throw that up. I really do. And I always want to do a good job for my client. Like, you're my client when I'm working for you. I am let me do, honor this agreement and let them leave feeling better than when they walked in.
Yeah.
And it really takes so much pressure off of me. And I feel like I'm calling in my muses, and I'm calling in whatever, higher power. I know. I get a little, I'm a little preachy myself.
I think if it was a gimmick, that would mean it's something everybody could do.
Oh.
Like, gimmick would be using props. I mean, any comic could go on stage with props if they chose to.
I see what you're saying.
That could be anybody could do that. To me, that's what would fall in the definition of gimmick. Whereas gift is you're doing something that not everybody can do. So that's the difference in my head, I guess. And
it maybe is it is a skill too. I have been doing this longer than most people. I mean, probably John Novosad and I are the elders of the community these days, and it's interesting. When I started, the elders were George McKelvey. He had a comedy club. He'd been on the Tonight Show in the 50s or 60s. I think it was the 60s. And you'd hear them talk about Sid Caesar. Now that was a comic, And then I feel weird now, oh man, I'm so much older than George McKelvey was when I met George McKelvey. I keep forgetting how old. I keep forgetting how old I am.
Yeah.
I still feel like a 14-year-old tomboy, in this grandma body, but whatever.
Yeah, you have a funny joke about that.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah, I've heard that name, George, because did he have a place in Fort Collins?
His was down
Tamarack Square.
Yes, it was down. It was down south, down on Hamden. Back in the day,
Hampton and Tamarack. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, and he was one of the founding people who started comedy in Denver.
Crazy.
Back in the day before when comedy was just in the Catskills or in New York or maybe in LA. It was it was pretty cool. So let's see. I just want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you. How do they reach you?
Instagram, comic_sense. That's CENTS.
Oh, that's right. I love that.
Facebook, Comic Sense. Emails info@comicsense.com.
And it's comicsense.com.
Yeah, comicsense.com.
And that's what really you're going to have the management company. You can find your clubs.
Yeah.
We're going to get you a discount on tickets.
Yeah. Promo code Traumedy, half price tickets.
Yeah. And you know how to spell it by now if you're listening.
Yeah.
What else? What do you think? Is there anything you'd like to share that I didn't give you an opportunity to share about some of your taking your trauma, taking your pain and playing with it, or anything that you want to express?
I was going to say, so then it was right around that time, around 20, I was kind of I don't know about this church thing. And then I became a bartender.
Oh.
That was my next, that was kind of the next thing I dived into. And then I was a bartender for 10 years. And I've had an idea for a joke in terms of bringing that on stage, where it's I've never been 86 from a bar, but there's certain churches it'd be really weird if I walked into, because then my whole life for the next 10 years was bartending, and that was my 20s, partying. It was fun. It was great. lots of premarital sex. So that was my 20s. So I went.
So
it was kind of a funny, quick transition where I was like working for the church from or was super involved in the church from probably 15 to 20, and then 20 to 30 was bartending.
And leaning into enjoying the pleasures of the flesh.
Yeah, lots of partying in the bartending days, but it was fun. And then and throughout the bartending, I was kind of in comedy. So yeah, that was your first question. How long have you been doing comedy? So 2007, I started. Didn't really do anything for a while. 2008, 2009, just getting into it. It was bartending. 2009 to like 2012, I was hitting the mics a lot. I was doing a lot. I'd won some competitions, and I was going on the road a lot.
Oh, congratulations.
I'd go on the road with Gretchen Hess.
Oh,
Gretchen
yeah,
Hess is
Gretchen.
Old friend of mine. She was one of the first to take me on the road, so I did a lot of road gigs with her.
Yeah, she and I, we must have hit a lot of the same clubs, because she would say, like, she would go into a town, and we had something similar, I guess, that they would say, Nancy Norton, because they're, high energy, very engaging. Yeah, that's so cool. So Gretchen took you on the road.
Yeah, like 2009.
I got to get her on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gretchen's great. She was good at crowd work before crowd work was even a thing.
Yeah.
Like she was mastering crowd work back in 20 years ago. So yeah, Gretchen's a great time. But then like 2012, 2013, I was getting burnt out on bartending and transitioned into the mortgage business. And then that kind of just took my life for about 10 years. It was good. It was fun. I was making money. But then after about 10 years of that, wasn't doing comedy. And so it's kind of serendipitous to tie this all into Comic Sense, the comedy club. It was right around 2020 when the pandemic was happening. I was as busy as I've ever been in mortgage.
Oh,
2020,
really?
everybody was refinancing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Rates were really low. And so I was working from home. I was actually... long story short, the place I was living in, one of my cousins had a super premature baby, and the hospital they put them at was right next to the place that I lived. And so they couldn't stay at the hospital, though, because of COVID.
Oh.
The hospital told them, like, there's no hotels. There was literally nowhere, but they had to keep their baby in the NICU. Is that
the NICU, yeah.
They had nowhere to go, so I was like, my condo is walking distance. So they stayed there. So I ended up doing the lockdown with my mom. I was at my mom's, and she works in mortgage, too. And so for that 6-month span there, when, March to September, both my mom and I are just doing mortgages from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Wow.
Every day. It was so busy.
It was just like they're just coming at you because everybody was refinancing down at those like 3%, whatever it was.
Yeah, refinancing. My mom had a funny thing. She said one day, as we worked from like 7, I had a little desk set up in her hallway. She had her little office. And 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. Both of us just 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And then at 7 p.m. we'd get done, open up a bottle of wine, have some drinks, go to bed, wake up, do it over. We did that for like 6 months. So I'm not complaining. There's people that had way worse things going on during COVID or 2020. I just happened to be really busy. But I remember my mom at one point, she was like, I feel like I'm just trying to do as many loans as I can do before I die. Because there was all that like nervousness of, COVID and all that.
Yeah.
But where was I going with all this? Oh, so then right around that time, I was getting super burnt out on the mortgage. I think kind of like everybody that was a comic at some point during 2020 was like, I wish I could do comedy again. And so early 2021, I started doing some random mics here and there, was like, I think I want to get back into comedy. And then kind of serendipitous, within about 2 weeks of deciding I wanted to get back into comedy, this old friend of mine that used to be my manager when I was a bartender called me up. He's one of the higher ups at the Hotel Boulderado. He called me up and he was like,
that's the connection.
Yeah, and he was like, hey, are you still doing comedy? And I was like, oh, funny you call. I literally am like getting back into it right now. And he's like, yeah, they're talking about doing comedy in the basement of License One. He's like, I don't think it'll work, but come see what you think.
Amazing.
And I was like, I'll be there tomorrow. Met with him the next day. We started doing comedy the next week. So yeah, there's June of 2021. Sam Talent headlined my first night there.
Wow, Sam!
And we've been rocking it for the last 5 years.
That was it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You're living that kind of life. Maybe it is your connection with higher power or whatever, because it's cool. Just like the thing with Mike Stanley.
Yes,
the timing is perfect. Like you said, you're just waiting for the universe to tell you and nudge you in this way. And then I love those serendipitous connections like that. And I was trying to figure out a contract with a client, and I got your message like, hey, would you be interested in maybe having some management. And I was like, I would love it. I would love to take that piece of it out of my brain that, that handle some of the business side of it for me. So I am trusting it so much. I'm trusting it completely. And I know I just see good things. I see I see things just got, expanding and expanding for you, because you're also just, you've got a good heart. And that's the thing I've always felt every time I've worked with you, is just this sense of just you're not one of these guys, so many folks are either pushing it or kind of pulling back, but I feel like you're very present. You're just right there, like this, here's what we're doing. You're very grounded. I wonder if it's from your, living in the mountains, and I don't know, you just feel very grounded and very okay.
Thank you.
Which is rare for a comedian.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's real.
Yeah. Part of me wishes I was a little bit crazier. Maybe
Do you need me to push you off your footing? To make you go through force of stress to make you write? I will say stress does force writing sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like going through a breakup or going through a hardship. That all of a sudden I think it. And I said this on Colorado Public Radio, but I think it is a gift from God. I think that humor is a part of what we were given to cope with this life, because it feels like a language of higher power. That's what I feel like. It feels like when we're in that laughter together, we're part of the oneness. I feel this, it feels like it transcends. I mean, I have performed right on the Mason-Dixon line, my hometown, Springfield, Missouri. And when I can find a joke that pops with the left and the right, it just feels so good. And I say at a lot of shows, you've heard me say, I'm trying to bring this country back together. It's not going well, but I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah.
I still have hope.
Yeah. No, I love that.
I
think
still
laughter is kind of the. I'm honored if I can get on stage and make the whole crowd laugh. Then, like you said, I think it's. They always say like music's a universal language.
Yeah.
I think laughter is too. Like if you can get a whole crowd to laugh at some dumb thing you said or thing you noticed. To me, that's where I kind of feel like is where I should be.
Yeah.
And whether I'm good at it or not, that's what I want to do. So
I love that. Let's go back to the humility. Yeah. Well, hey, break a leg with the New Faces contest coming up, and head over to Comic Sense. Check out Jesse Carter and all the folks that he's bringing over there. You might even see old Nance. And thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in early for the show tonight to do the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll do New Year's again.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we did it last year. That was a good time.
Yeah, it's a fun New Year's. Yeah,
that was a fun, because with that, we did that, that's how we had the idea, is my mom and I came up. I was hanging out with my mom on New Year's. I think it was when 2024 was turning into 2025.
Yeah.
It was that New Year's.
Up at the Stanley.
I was hanging out with my mom, and I was like, oh, what should we do tonight? And I was like, John Novosad, Nancy Norton, and Josh Blue are all performing up in Estes Park. I was like, let's go get a cheap little hotel room and go to that show. I was like, that sounds great. And then I text you. You were nice enough to even help us out with some tickets. So that was very nice of you. We came up. We hung out with you. We after partied. And then you're like, let's do this at License next year.
Yeah.
So then we did that.
We made it.
Ago.
And it happened.
Yeah.
You made it happen.
Yeah, that was a blast.
You're a guy that makes things happen. If you want something to happen, call Jesse. Jesse Carter, thank you so
Appreciate
much.
That.
And we'll see you. I'll probably see you this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy's the best. Nancy.
Forget the rest. Thanks. I want to thank my guest, Jesse Carter, comicsense.com, COMICCENTS.com. Find him there. You can get information about upcoming shows. Remember to use code word TROMEDY, TROMEDY. You already know that if you're listening to the podcast, but I'm saying it. Code word TROMEDY will get you 50% off tickets at Comic Sense here in Boulder on any show. It doesn't have to be a show that I'm on, any show. So do that. And then, if you need to find a comedian, Jesse's going to build his roster. I'll be on his roster. And you can always find stuff about my shows on nancynorton.tv. That's my website. And then there's a tab for upcoming shows that take you to the link tree. There's all the information right there. This Friday, I'll be in Pittsburgh at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center Oncology Symposium. If you know anybody in Pittsburgh, that's on August 28th. And then next week, I'm going to head back to the Ozarks, back to the family cabin, the Norton family cabin on Table Rock Lake for my birthday. And I'm excited because my son and Mushu are coming to the lake, and my cousin who I recently reconnected with. So it should be a fun time, always a fun time on Table Rock Lake. So there may not be an episode uploaded till mid-September. All right, I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for putting together the music loop. Always thanking Mushu, the mascot. Not just a mascot. I mean, he's truly the grounding force of Norton's Corner over here. And I just love how he kind of moves through rooms. Move shoe. I like them. Jesse called him Move shoe. I want to thank you, the listener. Thank you so much for being on this co-healing journey, listening in on these conversations. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to be a guest or you know somebody who wants to be a guest on Traumedy. I would love to share your wisdom and experience with the world. And remember this, no matter what, keep laughing.